Hi, Gaba Chia here. Today I want to tell you a story, the reminiscence of the day I was teaching. I was teaching in the Methodist Afternoon School, Talenson. Same place, ACS, but afternoon. We use it for the afternoon class from standard 3, I think, to form 3. All right. uh, for overage students, especially Chinese from the neighboring villages. So I was teaching from 3 art and class teacher for standard 5. My class were 35 students, all right. Ages from 14 to 16, 5 girls and the rest were boys. Here's a staff picture of my friends. Can't remember all their names, but here I remember a few. This Radimala, wife of Kuke Kim, all right? Aisha, Cheng Kiat, Rudy. The Chinese names I remember: Tian Bing, Ong Chu Sing, Maniam, Rasaya, Kok Hing, Chow Kok Hing, myself, this is Zone Arya, and this is the HM, the daughter. Okay, this is the staff picture, and I had them sign autograph. All right, 1963. Chinese students, because they know very little English. So when you speak in English, they will be looking at you most of the time. So I wonder sometimes if they understood at all, or they were just. But many of them were not really interested in their studies. Coming from a Chinese school, it was some sort of maybe I think cultural or language shock. So they would stare at me, but the girls were a bit diligent. The girls would try their very best to understand. So I had to go slow. But they were not something or bad boys, but then it's just that, the age difference between me and them were not very far. So they tend to take advantage. So over the first 2 weeks, it was okay. They were just trying to size me up, and to find out what kind of fellow I was. Probably they found out that I was a weakling, a softie, and then they took advantage. So they started, after a few weeks, they started their thing. Each time when my back was turned, I was writing something on the board, they would be whistling. If I turn my back, look at them, they will keep quiet. If not whistling, there will be something else. They will bang the tables, shift the chairs, and let go of the chair. The chair will just fall, and they'll be laughing, that kind of thing. And the noise, the sound, I knew it came from a group of 4 or 5 boys sitting in a group at the last, yeah, at the end of the class. I knew it was that group making all the noise. But the video was the whistling part that had me on my nerves, you know. So I discussed with my teachers about these incidents, and they said I have to bear it out. So unless I know who it was, they cannot really do anything. Even the HM said you have to be on your lookout. You cannot really, you know, be hard on them because they are about your age. You know, you might end up in fist fights. Even they can be violent. But just bear with it and just pretend not to know and see if you can carry on so much better. So even the females teachers had the same experience. They said some were really naughty, but not something just naughty in class. That's all. So okay, I had the advice, and each time they whistle, I turn, stare at them, and then they'll just pretend to be looking somewhere else, and so I turn my back. After a little while, I do it again. So one day, things came to a head. Really, it was quite also explosive. So while I was writing something on the board, explaining, Then I heard the whistle again. And then I turned around. I said, "Who is that?" Then they pretend, looking somewhere else. So I turned back, started writing. Again, the whistle came. I turned my back. This time I said, "This is the last warning. Don't do it. Don't make me angry. Don't make me mad. When I'm mad, something's going to happen. All right? Please, please." Okay, then I turned my back. Hardly, 10 seconds. You know, hardly 10 seconds. Then the whistle came again. This time it was the row and shrill. This time he was using, a real whistle. It was so shrill. So I exploded, I went ballistic. I was holding the big chalk. So I just turned. And then, with my hand, I just threw my chalk into that direction. But it missed. But the chalk did not go that far. It hit. I don't know how it slipped my hand and hit a girl in front, two chairs in front, 2 tables away, not very far, So she was hit, but not in the face or on her shoulder. She winced with pain. So the chalk landed, slipped, landed on the girl, a wrong victim. I was furious, I turned, I was clenching my fist, I could feel the smoke coming out from my nose and from my ear. I went to the girl and tenderly told her, "I'm sorry," that's all. She did not cry, but she just winced. So I walked, with firm steps and staring into the direction, with my clenched fist. At this time, the group, they knew something was going to happen. Well, a few of them look away, but 2 of them really, they tend to look down and then look up. One, which I singled out as a culprit, he knew he was the culprit. He stared at me. We lock eyes, we lock eyes. And I went towards him and he was staring. And when I went towards him, he was already standing up, ready to fight, ready to explode. He knew. So when I neared him, he stood up quickly, and this time it was going to happen. I knew it. So I grabbed him by the collar, his shirt collar, and his fist came out immediately, So I was really enraged. Probably so was he. And so we grappled each other, The thing went very fast, grappled each other. We did not punch. There's no punching, but just grab his shirt. He grabbed me, and then we struggled. And the commotion, a lot of. And then, before I knew it, we were on the ground, still struggling. But this time I was on top of him. See, we were still struggling, and everybody, crowded around. But no one made any noise. There was a lot of noise of tables moving, that kind of thing, falling. So when I sat on him, I looked at him. He was not looking at me, but his eyes were closed tight, and I saw he was shivering. The whole body was shaking. Then it dawned on me, what was happening? So I was puzzled. Look at his face. He was, he was like he closed his eyes. His whole body was shaking like he was having a fit. I was stunned. So one boy from the crowd shouted in Chinese. And in Malay, they also is gila babi. Gila babi means a seizure. And he also mentioned something in Chinese. So he said it was a seizure. So I was stunned. I was so scared. So I quickly tried to bring him up. But he was struggling, on the ground. And then later on, I saw that his heart was foaming in the mouth. Oh my God, what's going on? And the commotion, because of the commotion, things happen very fast, and teachers from the next room, next class, came to look what's happening. And then they came in, they saw him, look, and they said, look, he's on the ground. I think, what's he? What? And then I said, what's going on? He said, Kong Yun, you know what's happening? He's having his epileptic fit. Gila babi, epileptic fit. So he's foaming in the mouth. So don't worry, just keep him calm. So I told the girls came in and teachers came in, and also the girls tried to, put their hands on his shoulder to calm him. So one of the teachers said, don't worry, I'll call for the ambulance. So he ran to the phone booth. We had a phone booth there to call the ambulance. So I was standing there. I was crouching, on him. Crouching beside him, and didn't know what to do. So many things went through my mind. I was thinking, this guy, epileptic fit. I've heard of it, but I've never seen this thing going on like this. Seen any person having it. So I was, yeah. So it was very scary. It was very, very scary. We waited together for the ambulance to come. It's a long time in coming, But although Tlemcen, a very small place, but within half an hour or so, we could hear siren, and the ambulance came in, and the attendant, just looked at him. He was still lying on the ground. This time the shivering was not as severe, but his eyes were closed. His eyes were closed. So I was thought something, this is serious. So the ambulance came, and they patted me on the shoulder, said, it's okay, we will take him to the hospital. So if he did not come, we will take care of him. So they just put him on a stretcher, put him in the ambulance, and they sent him to the hospital. Okay, that was almost towards dismissal time, time to go home. So all right. So I did not follow him to the hospital. One of the teachers went with him. They said, Kok Yun, you better go home now. You relax, you'll be okay. All right, he's only having a fit. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. So I went home that day feeling, wretched, I was traumatized by the whole event. So sleep didn't come. No matter how I toss, here and there. I was thinking, what if he died? He could die in the night. I would be receiving a call, from the hospital. It would be murder, right? Although, I was the cause of his getting this fit. What happens. Anyway, I lay awake the whole night. I don't think I slept a wink. So the next day, I did not hear anything. Nobody called me. So I was quiet until afternoon when I went to school. Okay, the bell rang. I was in school. I went in. Everybody was there, and I scanned the faces before I came in the class. Like like a scared rabbit, something like that. That kind of feeling. So as I looked further, I scanned the place where this boy was sitting. To my relief, he was sitting there. He didn't look at my direction. I really put my hand to my chest. Oh my God. Thank you, God, I was saying silently. So I walked into the class. They all stood up. The monitor told them to stand up. They stood up and wished me good day. I did the same. But having put my register book on the table, then I walked towards the boy. He was this time he was looking down, not staring at me. So, and he sensed that I was moving towards him. By the time I got to him, he just looked up, and I look at him tenderly, kind of. I didn't want to stare at him. He didn't want to stare at me. He just looked at me and nodded his head, and that means just to tell me in his own way that he was okay. Well, I nodded. Yeah, I think I smiled a bit. I just put my hand on his shoulder, and patted him on the shoulder and gripped a bit, so to assure, just a hand of assurance that everything was okay. Okay between the both of us, okay for him, that everything was forgotten. Something like, admitting my fault, although I didn't mention it. All right. And I turned back, and walked back to my table and started my lesson, the usual lesson, this time it was everything. I was in a somber mood, a very calm mood. He did not say much. He just continued my normal teaching. That was, that was a very traumatic experience for me. So after that, there was no more whistling. The boys have matured overnight, and so have I. I think we didn't become enemies. We didn't become good friends either, but we tolerated each other's presence. I think that's a better word for it. So we knew, we both were of the same age. We had our time. We had our this thing, okay, and so things were okay. So that was a nasty. Actually, there was a nasty accident, and because of that, I was frightened, of teaching, but it really scared me. Yeah, to think twice, whether I would like to teach. At the same time, during that time, teaching was the in thing because apart from this MTC, Teachers Training College, you also have the TQC, Technical Teachers Training College. And on top of that, you have the Day Training Center. Of course, for the TQC and the Teachers Training, you need to have at least second grade. Yeah, to be able to get in, second graders and above. Okay, and the DTC, Day Training Center, was Form 5, just a Form 5 will do, so it's very much easier. Okay, anyway, that's what I know. Anyway, during that time, DTC was making its debut, I think, and the headmaster was Sengupta, my classmate's father, Talintan. Yeah, Talintan. There was a center there. The father was headmaster, and all our friends, most of our friends were rushing to apply either TQC, the Cooking and TQC, and the MTC and DTC. So everybody was rushing for the form, filling the forms. I wanted to, I had a form also, but I thought twice because I had this experience. I was thinking maybe this is enough for me. Maybe this teaching is not for me, Although really, really, to tell you the truth, I like teaching. I like teaching, Yeah. So, but I changed my mind. So I changed my mind. Instead, I took a train. To after the end of the session, of course, end of the year, I took a train. I took a one-way ticket to Kuala Lumpur to seek my fame and fortune. That's how I landed, working in Kuala Lumpur. First in an architect's firm as an apprentice, and then in an advertising agency, And then after a year, I applied to join the government. All right. So that's how I started working in KL. So that was the end of my teaching ambition. All right. So, so on looking back, I think, well, I don't know if I've made a good choice. Yeah. But anyway, I love the work that I'm doing now. But it was a experience, good experience, a traumatic experience. Of course, now I remember it with fondness. It's a good memory. It's something I can talk about, you know. Okay, that was some experience, the traumatic experience that really had me thinking twice of being a teacher. Okay. All right. Thank you for listening. Bye.